Hello. Uh, I wanted to say something about this can. This is a term that has been widely discussed. The cancel culture. Yeah, what is the culture? For those of you who aren't completely sure what that means, is alright. Now, in this time, there is so much political correctness. It has gone too far, simply. And the result is this: you're a famous person, or rather famous. You don't have to be a really famous person, but you have to have like a job that is kind of, so, if you work in the news or whatever as a journalist, or especially if you are a celebrity, you say something, right? Or you write something on Twitter, let's say, on Twitter, yeah, and people don't like it, and because it goes against the today's commonly accepted as political correctness, those norms. What happens? That person is pretty much a pariah now. Yeah, so you know what happened, for instance, to Johnny Depp when first time he was accused by Amber Heard of you know being abusive to her. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, no, that Johnny Depp, he's such a, this and that. I don't wanna." Even I myself, my first reaction was, I'm kind of sick and tired of him, and screw him. Not a good person, obviously. But now we have found out that case was not as black and white as we thought. It's not that simple, of course. So culture is simply when you no longer follow or like somebody because of something they said or did. I mean, either some kind of political opinion or something bad, something that you feel is negative. I mean, look at this, and it doesn't have to be in recent time either. I mean, somebody fished fished up, as they say here where I live. Somebody managed to find a tweet or something, not a tweet really, because this was very long ago, but there was no Twitter actually, but some kind of post by James Gunn, which was from 2001 or something, where I don't actually remember what it was about. It was a comment which was like kind of, slightly either racist or something like that, yeah, in that direction. Or today it would be anyway, what is today considered racist was not in 2001, not necessarily. So that is also another thing, Yes, I mean, today you aren't allowed to use certain words and expressions that you were allowed to do in 2001 and 2 and 3. So, and I remember that time very well. It was when I started, really, writing, joining these message boards and, yeah. So I was quite active back then. And yeah, there was a lot of, I mean, but I don't remember. But I didn't go to the worst places, of course. I mean, let's face it, if you go, for instance, there are these sites that stream sports for free, right? Where you can watch sports for free, right? Like pirate sites. And there you have chat rooms actually. And if you go to one of those chat rooms, just take a look what people are usually writing about there. Oh man, it's so retarded, man. It's so much race. I have seen so many racist messages there. Nobody says anything about that. I mean, nobody would ever really, really condemn that because it's not a part of the main kind of social media or web. It's kind of yeah, it is what it is, right? And sadly, many people who go there to watch these sports for free, they are you know they are what do you call? They are not very bright people. They are not. They are very often people who also can have certain opinions that are out of touch with this time and this civilization. But that's reality. I mean, come on, we cannot pretend that. I mean, most people, you are not allowed to say just because you are not allowed, you can ban people from writing, posting certain things. Sorry, but you cannot ban them from saying that same stuff in their home, right? Right. So they will just keep on being, either racist or how do you say it, misogynist or whatever, homophobic. Yeah. So there's a lot of that in the world of sports. I mean, sports fans aren't exactly known as the most, woke people out there. So cancel culture. So what happened also, as I said, I was gonna say about James Gunn. I kind of drifted off that subject. Somebody managed to find a really old post he had made on some kind of message board where he wrote something. As I said, I don't recall what it was. He used, I think, a racist word or something like that. But he was like, a really young guy back then. He didn't know better. So what happens? They kind of actually the MCU, the Marvel Studios, sacked him for a while just because he had back then, written something which wasn't so nice. So there's so much stuff going on. I mean, in USA mainly, especially USA, but also to a degree in UK as well. You can find such stuff, such ludicrous stories where examples where people really got lost their job because they weren't willing to really like conform to this new woke ideology. I know, of course, also in the sport of boxing, which I follow very much, Paulie Malignaggi got fired from Showtime as a guest commentator because he said that now there was a new time coming in boxing where black American boxers will not be so dominant anymore now that the East Europeans have started, also taking over. So what he said, I mean, come on, if you know what's going on in boxing, you'll recognize that he was at least partially or partly right. Because if you look at people who is like Usyk, who is now, ruling pretty much heavyweight division, or Bivol, who is ruling the light heavyweight division, and Beterbiev also together with him ruling, and you had Lomachenko also was still one of the best fighters uh, pound for pound. They are all from Eastern Europe, so there but it was just that fact that he actually said that African Americans are no longer ruling boxing or dominating like they did. Oh man, come on. It's so crazy, yeah, right? And he loses his job because of that. So there you go. Those are really good examples for cancel culture. So what is it about is the inability of these you know TV stations and all those movie studios. So all the people in charge, they are enabled to take this, as they should. Say, like stand behind their people who are being attacked for being either racist or whatever. And they should stand behind it, but they don't because they are so afraid of losing their own jobs, and that's really rather despicable and cowardly. Sorry, I mean, at least someone should have stood behind Paulie Malignaggi and said, "This guy is not a racist. I know him very well. You know." And somebody in the MCU should have. I mean, the actors did stand behind him. That was very nice. All the actors from Guardians of the Galaxy, the main main cast, yeah, but nobody else. They were pretty much the only ones. So he eventually got his job back, James Gunn, luckily, but it did take some time, not immediately. And that was mainly because the actors did support him, as well as some other people, I guess. But the bosses, those on top, they are so cowardly, man. I mean, and they should have said, come on, people, this was so long ago. Come on, what's the big deal? I mean, he was another person probably back then. Now he's a lot older and wiser and knows better. I mean, for Christ's sake, I mean, did you personally, you out there, never get angry or pissed at somebody for in a moment you had this big argument with someone online and that person was being really nasty and very condescending and snide whatever, and you lost your temper and that person, let's say, is of another race than you. Did you never like at least get tempted to call him in the heat of the argument this and that? It's what happens, right? It doesn't mean that you really mean that you really don't hate him because of his race or whatever, but that happens. And that's what I'm referring to the James Gunn, uh, yeah, story here. The James Gunn example, the Paulie Malignaggi example was different, and Johnny Depp, also, yeah. Now after Me Too, you know how it is. It's hopeless. I mean, you cannot say anything negative about any kind of woman that is famous without taking quite a lot of flack, and that's just the way it is. That's gonna be the case from now on, sadly. So, you know how it goes when you are a male and straight white male, especially. We know that. I mean, but even you don't have to be white; you have to be a straight male, pretty much, to get in trouble. So if you say something like, negative about it, well, somebody famous, let's put it. While on another hand, this is a very good example. I'm glad I remember this. This is an example that if you are a woman, especially a woman of color in America, you can't get away with a lot. So this article, I remember reading about Ellen DeGeneres, right? After that scandal, she lost her job, lost her show, and there was this black woman. I know she was black who wrote this article where she was kind of like saying, we are so quick to feel sorry for a white woman. We are so quick to come to her aid, to her defense. And I was like, what's the point? Like, because she's white, you should not defend her. You should not feel sorry for her. I mean, all right, I do get where she was coming from. Like, Ellen was kind of, maybe she didn't deserve to feel to be pity or anything. But I mean, the way that article was phrased, I was like very, what is her real, motive behind Is it because she is so disgusted with what Ellen is did to her employees, or or is there anything more? Because this is if a white person were phrased herself or himself exactly like that about Oprah, come on, man. Oh man, there would be so much trouble. There would be so much backlash. Yeah, I don't think this article got as much backlash as it should have, probably, because it was who it was, who was the author. So, yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on, today. When it comes to that, it often makes me angry, but at least, people who were supposed to get cleared and, get their justice, like Johnny Depp and James Gunn, they did get their justice. It's only I feel sorry for Paulie Malignaggi, who never got his job back because that firing, I already made a whole video about it. That was so fucking, retarded. But, that's America. American media is hypersensitive, man. Yeah, so that's why it's good to, like, in UK have Piers Morgan, who has a big show, a big channel where he condemns all this, calls it out. So that's really good. But USA, not so much. I mean, Tucker Carlson, he quit recently, and he was one of those people who was, no matter what you think about his political, opinions, he did call out, those bigots for what they were, like woke bigotry, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, in USA, it's much harder to be, like neutral when it comes to this. Yes, I would say so. But this is going. I don't know where this society is going. Yeah, it's crazy, man. All right, that was all. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.